Hey, how's it going, guys? So we are back to talk about one of my just all-time favorite movies. I absolutely love this movie. We're going to be talking about Creepshow, of course, on 4K. Actually, by the time this video comes out, I think it comes out today when I post it, but I got this a couple days early, so figured pop it in, watch it, see how it looks. So, of course, this is the ultimate horror anthology movie, ever, in my opinion. George Romero, Tom Savini, Stephen King. You have just a group of masterminds behind this movie. Stephen King writing all these short stories, George Romero directing it. If you don't know who George Romero or Stephen King is, you probably don't know horror. Tom Savini doing all of the makeup. Chef's kiss. It's an insane thing that happened, and it happened. I don't know how, but I'm not mad at it. There's a ton of crazy big name actors that were kind of smaller. I know Ed Harris is in this. He's just a small little minor part, but he worked with George Romero before on like a smaller movie. I think it was Night Riders, something like that. So he knew him. So he came on. Ted Danson, Leslie Nielsen, there's a lot of people in this movie that just make this movie amazing. So of course it has 5 different segments. Anthology. That's what an anthology is. It's just it all comes together fantastically. I say fantastic a lot, but it just comes together so beautifully. And then of course you have an overarching kind of story with Stephen King's kid, who now goes by Joe Hill, writer. If you know, if you've seen The Black Phone, that's Joe Hill. That's from Joe Hill's mind. So it has him as a little kid. Tom Atkins is in, again, actors galore and actresses galore in this movie. So I've always been a fan of Stephen King for the most part. I have just a lot of his books. I have a couple of first prints of his books. So of course I was drawn to this. Really, when I was a kid too, I honestly can't remember the first time I watched this, but when I watched this as a kid, I know my favorite kind of segment, of course, was the crate. I feel like a lot of people like that just because there's so much makeup and special effects and so much goes into that. It's the longest, segment of this movie as well. So I absolutely loved that one. But I adore Stephen King. I just like the guy. I want to hang out with the guy. Just, pick his brain a little bit. But, so of course, Geordie and Meteor shit, that one, I don't know, just holds a special. And plus, not to mention, it just gets so dark at the end. That's the thing, is he's a really joking, dumb-witted guy, but right at the end there, it gets pretty dark. But, so, those, and then of course, the couple, I think it's, Two by the Ocean, or I can't remember exactly what the segment's called, but that with Ted Danson, Leslie Nielsen, again, this movie overall is just, it's ridiculously good. If you haven't watched it already, definitely do it. I could talk over and over and over about, George Romero, Stephen King, Tom Savini. I could talk about this movie. I love how they portrayed it basically as an old EC comic. So you get those big splashes of blue and the red and all of that, and you get that old school, kind of horror vibe from the comic itself. If you could see up here somewhere, right over there somewhere, I have the original Creepshow as well. It's graded out. I think it's at 8.5. So that's not going anywhere. That's going to be probably buried with me. I absolutely love the comic. I want to get the one that's in the actual movie itself. I know they do reprints and stuff like that. So yeah, fingers crossed I'll find it somewhere. Who knows? But either way, you are here to know about the 4K and the audio and the special features and all that fun stuff. So this right here is a new 4K scan of the camera negative. Overall, this 4K looks great. There's some choppiness here and there, but this movie was never made to be this huge, beautiful, majestic movie. It's not shown in a huge blockbuster theater. You're not going to any of those over-the-top screenings. This was, a passion project almost. Romero, Stephen King, and Tom Savini, They just want to make a horror movie. They want to make an anthology movie, and this is what they did. So this movie was never meant to look this good. It does. It looks phenomenal. So I'm very happy about it. The one thing I wish Scream Factory would do more often, and I don't even know if they've done it after this, but make an actual, like, hard copy, you know, actual box set of, you know, their movies. Do it on 4K, you know, if you want to charge a little bit more, sure. I mean, I would understand it. I would understand paying the prices we pay for the 4Ks right now with this. I don't know. Maybe that's just a gripe that I have. But I feel like they did this like once or twice and then just shied away from it. Arrow does a phenomenal job with this. Like they have a bunch of their box sets back here. They're great. You know, of course, like I said, reversible artwork, nothing crazy. But then, of course, you know, they give you the booklet, too. That has a bunch of different information in there. As it's just a bunch of cool facts. It's just an added extra that, you know, you would think if we're doing a 4K of a movie that they already released, you know, you might want to step it up a little bit. But either way, because I love this. I'm not, now that I have the 4K, I'm still not getting rid of this. I just love this so much. If we're talking about picture quality, though, this still is definitely better than that. You're gonna get film grain in this movie. It's just gonna happen. It's an older movie. It's filmed on film. Makes sense. This HDR and Dolby Vision definitely kind of brings that better picture quality out. It looks a lot clearer. It looks great. The colors, like, you know, of course, like I said, they do the blues, and, you know, I did blue and red back here just so I could kind of match. But they do the blues, the reds. There's a lot of vibrant colors in this movie. A lot of greens when you're seeing like the outsides in the, you know, in the Father's Day for the first part or first segment. You know, you're seeing a lot of color in this movie, and I feel like that's really what they wanted to go for, especially for EC Comics. That was kind of the idea behind it. And if you watch the movie before, they do a lot of like comic panels and switching and stuff. That's the only area that I really kind of stood out to me, at least, where it's not as great as it could be. But again, those are transitions. They're moving really quick. There's like 4 or 5 pictures kind of going all at once because it looks like a comic panel with, you know, like the 4 or 5 squares on the page. So that's something that I can, you know, I'm okay with. It looks a little bit choppy, or I guess choppier in that little segment, but they're few and far in between. Really all it is them going from, like, I think there's a couple of segments in Father's Day that do it, and then in between each segment they do it. But other than that, and it doesn't really look bad because most of it goes into more of like that animated style that they do in the movie. So it's a small gripe, but it's there. One other time that I saw that you kind of see a little bit more film grain overall than any other part in the movie is when they have the kind of like the artificial or the fake backgrounds, because of course it's a movie. They're not going to film out everywhere. You know, when you see a meteor shooting down, it's not an actual meteor that they just happen to film. So of course that whole segment with the meteor coming down, where right before it hits, it looks a little choppy and you can see the grain a little bit more. But again, I think it's 5 seconds. So it's not anything crazy. Overall, the picture is clear. I mean, you'll see by the photos that I'm posting or have been posting. The picture is a lot clearer. The colors are more vibrant in this movie. This was a day one pickup for me, so definitely I'm very happy with how the picture quality looks. So one more upgrade with this 4K is you do get a Dolby Atmos track. So the Blu-ray came with a 5.1 and also a stereo 2.0. So that is included on the 4K as well. So you get 3 different tracks that you can kind of choose from. 5.1 I'm never really sold on, it seems like. Of course, I don't have a huge setup. I just have a sound bar and a subwoofer, so that's it. I don't have anything crazy, but I definitely really enjoyed the Dolby Atmos. It seems like everything kind of gets elevated a little bit. You know, all of the background noise, all of the random gunshots here and there, everything like that definitely gets elevated. And on top of that, the dialogue itself comes in really clear. You can hear it throughout, like the score, John Harrison. The score is just amazing. If you watch my TikTok, I've already gone over the vinyl record of this for the score. I talked about the old Blu-ray as well, but either way, I'll have a link down below. You can go check it out if you want to. But the score is beautiful. But either way, that really gets elevated as well. You know, you get the score is what helps build the tension in the movie, and you definitely get that tension throughout the entire movie because of that Dolby Atmos that gets added. I do like the 2.0 stereo as well. I don't think that's anything to, 2.0, whatever. I don't need that. I enjoy the 2.0 or the 5.1, honestly. Maybe that's just me. That's just how I feel with my setup. Maybe you have an entire surround sound setup and it's a little different for you. But for me, the 2.0 is I prefer that better than the 5.1. And then on top of that, Dolby Atmos just makes everything sound better. Thank you, Scream Factory, for adding a Dolby Atmos, because not all the time that gets added, and it's just, if you're doing a 4K, go all out. So last but not least, we're going to be talking about special features. So really, from the Blu-ray to the 4K, there's nothing different. There's nothing really added on or anything crazy. I will say though that the Blu-ray, I'll take a look at the back here. Hopefully it'll kind of zoom in and you can see it. But this Blu-ray was loaded with special features. And obviously at the bottom, it literally just says "and more," because they couldn't fit everything on the back of this. So of course, on the 4K, again, everything's listed, but it's the exact same as this. So any extra footage or anything on top of what came with the Blu-ray, you're not getting anything different. So unfortunately, it is what it is. Like I said, they're already loaded with special features, so you're gonna have a good time watching any of these or any of these. I mean, either way. But if you love Creepshow, I would say get this. Just Desserts. This is basically like a making of. It's basically a whole documentary on how they did Creepshow, what they did about it. Like, if you love Creepshow as much as I do, you're gonna pick this up and you're gonna watch it, because it's just a great behind the scenes. So you get all these special features, but pick this up. Either way, 4K, picture quality is great. I absolutely loved it. You can definitely tell the upgrade. The picture quality is just, it's a lot clearer. The makeup, Tom Savini, he's just amazing. But the makeup in this movie looks, it's phenomenal. I don't know how many times I can say the word phenomenal talking about this movie in general, but I'll just say it a bunch. So pick it up either way. Sound quality, of course, as well. You get a Dolby Atmos, you get that upgraded, you get 3 tracks that you can listen to, whatever you prefer. You can go off of that and then just switch to 1-to-1. Whatever you want to do. That's why they give you options. Special features, nothing crazy, nothing upgraded from the Blu-ray, but get the Just Desserts movie as well. It's a whole bunch of extra stuff. You're going to love it. Either way, let me know what you guys thought about it in the comment section below. Are you picking up the 4K? Are you hanging out with just the Blu-ray? Gonna wait for maybe the price to go down here or there? Either way, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. Let me know what you thought of this movie if you've seen Just Desserts, and we will see you guys in another video.